Hello and welcome to the Endurance Collaborative. Today I want to talk all about systems, why they matter, and how to implement them into your life and training. So, why do they matter? Quite simply, if you're training lots of hours or you're training lots of hours relative to your life and what you have available, there are all these other things that go along with training well and being consistent that take time outside of working out. So being able to have a system and systemize it saves you time that you can get back for spending with family, friends, or other responsibilities. The other reason that this is important is because we're already faced with decision fatigue from a million little tiny things we have to make our minds up about every day. And then if you pile on top of that big training weeks that you might see with ultra running, long distance triathlon, like a half or a full, and then all the other things you've got going on in your life on top of that training, having to make these little small decisions about these day-to-day things adds up and turns into stress. Your body doesn't care if stress is from training or stress is stress. All it sees is some form of stress, and that takes away from your training. So by reducing decisions and having systems, it helps reduce your stress, use your time more efficiently, and enjoy your training more. And really, the main goal is to make it easy to show up and be consistent. These systems help you spend less time on all the other work, like the other responsibilities you have outside of training or that go along with training. Um, it shrinks that time requirement and makes it easy to show up, do the work day over day. So my hope is to give you some strategies that you can implement or use as a template and then kind of craft into your own so that you can be more efficient and enjoy your training more, and that hopefully your family or friends can get more on board with as well because you're more available. The biggest one for me, at least initially, when I was training for my first Ironman, was packing bags, having bags packed for each sport. Once I started doing this, and I had them stocked and kept them stocked, and it was as easy as just kind of grabbing and going, and I had all the essentials for each sport in there, it made it a lot easier to show up. And then all I had to do when I was done is throw my dirties in the laundry, grab some new, replace, and maybe like switch out some nutrition or different things like that. But generally speaking, you got this baseline ready to go bag. That makes it easy to get out the door, especially if it's early in the morning and you're groggy. Boom, grab your bag, you already have your plan, you know what your workout is, you just got to get out the door. The other biggie that I faced when I was new was laundry, believe it or not. I was new to the sport. I was training for an Ironman, spending 15 to 18 plus hours a week training, working a full-time job. Did not have a family at that point, but still, I didn't have much gear, and it turned out I had to do laundry very frequently because I kept running out of exercise gear. So the middle point should probably be one of the more important points is if you can, have multiples so you can do laundry less times per week or even like every 10 plus days and get away with it. Um, if you have multiples, it just buys you time. So you can do more workouts between laundry. And then if you're going to do it, I would say have some go-to days or a day each week where you're going to spend an hour or two doing your laundry. Knowing you have a go-to time, again, reduces a decision and gives you a rhythm that you can kind of count on more often than not. And finally, having a place for everything to go is big because an example of this is for 1 or 2 seasons, I hung up a lot of my bike gear, and as nice as it was to be hanging and see it, it was a pain to keep walking back and forth and dealing with the hangers when I could have just folded it and put it into a section like bike tops, bike bottoms, etc. So I've gotten away from hanging and I've gotten into folding, and everything has a place. So it's really literally one load, wash, dry, fold, done. Um, and I no longer have to deal with hangers, so I can do the folding in front of the TV or while I'm relaxing. So just small tweaks like that can make a big change to make it more doable or even less overwhelming by being able to do it with another task. The next one is a biggie. You need a lot of good nutrition to support heavy training. So making it easy to get quality food in the right kind of quantity for you is big. My advice is more general on this because everybody's a little bit different, and this is how I kind of work more specifically with my athletes uh, to find the system that works for them. But generally speaking, picking a specific food prep day or days each week can go a long way, and then doing the planning to go along with those prep days, right? So having your grocery list, knowing when you're going to go shopping to get it or have it delivered, um, having it there, doing your food prep, and then having meals ready to go can save you a ton of time and energy. And just know you can pull something out of the fridge, eat it, go, instead of having to block out 2+ hours to cook and clean and everything. And this kind of alludes to the second point. It's a big deal to have ready to go options, whether that's meals or even just sport nutrition like drinks, bars, gels, recovery products. Having some of these on hand is a big deal. Another way to kind of look at this too, that has been big for me, is knowing that you have a couple like fallback meals if your food prep and planning routine kind of comes unglued a little bit. Um, and by that I mean like some simple ingredients you can put together to make a decent enough meal to get you by. And for me, while I was training heavy, that was kind of like having the stuff to make tacos really fast. I always had like canned chicken, some seasoning, and the things to go together to make some tacos. I could always pull that together and have a decent meal in under like 10 minutes. So think about it that way. Like have some fallback options, have your days to prep food, and kind of get in a system to start using it. There is an app out there that I will link in the references called fuelfood.io that links with Training Peaks and helps you nail everything from the shopping to the recipes to getting it delivered. So take a look at that. It's a handy piece of software. Lastly, do as much as you can ahead of time, like making your bottles or getting your nutrition laid out, so that when you wake up in the morning or you're a little bit time crunched, you don't have to worry about it. You can grab it and go. It's a big deal. Recovery is one that tends to go when time gets crunched, but it's so necessary, especially as you train at higher volumes. Um, my biggest piece of advice is to make it accessible. Again, kind of have it in your bags or around so you can grab it and do it. And then do it in small doses. Don't make it overwhelming. If it feels like too big of a task, you will avoid it and not choose it. So have a minimum commitment of 2 to 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever feels palatable to you, and do a little bit. And it's easier to do when it's there. So make it accessible, keep it small. And if you really need to, block some time for it on your calendar if you're not getting to it. Or schedule a massage, schedule an appointment with somebody who can do recovery work for you. Final piece here is if blocking time for it isn't your thing, anchor it to another habit like first thing you do when you wake up or right after you brush your teeth at night. Some sort of other habit you have going that can kind of trigger you into, oh, I need to do my 5 to 10 minutes of recovery work. That can go a long way in helping you make it more consistent and staying ahead of your recovery needs. I've alluded to it a couple times here, but one of the most successful strategies for managing time well is called time blocking, where you basically go in, kind of like this lady is in the picture, and you're laying out your time through the day so you kind of know what you're doing when. And the way I describe it to a lot of my athletes is you're making appointments with yourself in there as well, instead of filling it in with everybody else's stuff or with work stuff, life stuff. You put it on the calendar, you make a commitment to yourself. It makes it easier to show up for yourself, for your workouts, and be consistent. So definitely, if you're not using a calendar, I highly recommend time blocking. It just makes the likelihood of you showing up for your workouts and all the things you need to do higher. And then it also kind of counterintuitively, when you know how you're spending your time, you can also know you can have time to count on to be a little bit more relaxed because you block out for it. So it allows you some flexibility, or it allows you to at least have enough foresight to be flexible and create gaps as needed. And then lastly, the biggie, you need to plan your workouts. You need to know what you're doing when and kind of why. At the very least, you need to be using some sort of software to help make this easier, or I shouldn't say at the very least. At the very least, you should be writing it down in a journal or some sort. there's a lot of nice pieces of software out there like Training Peaks and Strava um, that can help you see this more visually and plan ahead. This allows you to not kind of just wing it as you go along and never get more fit. It helps you to have a progressive approach um, and know, hey, I'm building fitness week over week, and I have a purpose with each week. Um, Clearly, you can get pre-made plans or you can work with a coach, and this takes a lot of the stress out of this and would be kind of the system right there where you're essentially hiring someone to take that stress away from you. Which is probably one of the biggest things I hear from my athletes is it's just so nice to not have to plan or worry about the little details. I just have to show up and do the work and know that I'm doing the right thing. So hiring a coach or at least having a plan can help you go a long way in managing that stress. And then finally, I want to talk about family. A lot of us have families and are chasing these big goals, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? You have some more bodies to help you with some of those responsibilities, but you also have more people's needs to consider. So as you go into these big endeavors, know that family can be an asset, but it is so important to have them on board. So communication is key. Make sure you communicate well. Get them connected with why this is important for you, the values that are driving it. And the more support you can get, the more fun you're going to have, and the more they can help you with these systems, the more they'll buy in and have your back as you go through this. So communicate well, get them on your team, get them into your systems, or have them help you develop some systems, and it can go a long, long way. So all that being said, today we spent time talking about systems and how they help, and it is time well spent to do that work up front because it just enables things to go more smoothly between life and training and everything else we have going on. So take some time, try it out, let me know what questions you have, and enjoy things running a little bit more smoothly. Thank you.